Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here and welcome to a new series, Doctor Who Wednesdays. I've talked about starting this series for a while and I finally got BritBox, which is the streaming service that has a lot of old British BBC television, including the original Doctor Who series, which started in 1963 with the first Doctor, William Hartnell. And I've got to say, before we get into this, it's rough. They leave in messing up lines. I believe in season 2 there was a line the Doctor said that a certain planet is lots of light Earths away from here. And that stayed in the show. It's brutal. The Doctor's kind of useless as well. He kind of creates more problems than he solves in season 1, for sure. He's kind of rude to his companions. He's pretty senile. And some episodes it feels like he likes his companions, and then the episode right after it seems like he hates them. Now, Ian, one of his 3 companions that he has to start the show, is by far the best character. And is the one that solves things. Barbara gets a couple points for solving some stuff. And Susan also, well, she normally doesn't solve things. She normally just screams grandfather and runs away. But yeah, this show starts in black and white, which is not the problem here. I would like that to be known. I've watched other shows that have black and white in them. I don't remember if Y50 was ever black and white, but one of my favorite shows, Hogan's Heroes, starts in black and white. That's not my issue with this show. It's bad just about everything else. So we'll get into season 1 now. Episode 1 is An Unearthly Child. The Doctor appears halfway into the episode for the first time. We don't see him for 10 minutes or so. Actually, a little longer than 10 minutes. The Doctor's granddaughter Susan is in a school in England. Two of her teachers find the TARDIS. The Doctor does not want them around, and they go to a new planet or time. Pretty dry episode. Episode 2, The Cave of Skulls. It is the same planet, it is Earth, but it is back to the time of the Neanderthals. The Doctor is captured, and the other 3 are then also captured, and put in a cave full of split open skulls. Episode 3, The Force of Fear. They are set free by one of the Neanderthals that disagrees with the leader. This Doctor is useless. I feel mean, but I've watched old TV shows, and this is just very dull. The show in general just is slow. They'll arrive at a place and be like, oh, the ground is brown. And the Doctor will be like, very good, the ground is brown. It's like, I guess black and white, and then you want to explain things a little bit, but you could at least make it a little bit more interesting. There's essentially no action. Again, it's 1960s, apparently low-budget television. And the sci-fi part of this is rough. Like, you'll see someone fall, and then the effect of them being shot. So that's interesting. The group heals the leader, and a new leader sets attack against them. Episode 4, The Firemaker. They're recaptured. The Doctor turns the tribe against the new leader, reinstating the old leader, and they're back to the cave. They escape back to the TARDIS, and head to a new place with high radiation. He doesn't know how to control the TARDIS, which I also found odd, and he also doesn't mind killing things, which, for someone who started watching Doctor Who with the reboot in 2005 or 6, that's a very interesting take, is the Doctor just fighting things. No sonic screwdriver, just whack thing overhead. Episode 5, The Dead Planet. Visit a planet killed by high radiation levels. And a Dalek is after Barbara. We get our first Dalek in episode 5 of Doctor Who, which is cool. That's awesome. Episode 6, The Survivors. The Daleks capture everybody else. Episode 7, The Escape. The group gets the Dalek hull. Ian gets in it, and they all leave the cell. They somehow don't notice the being inside the Dalek, even though they show that there was a being in there. No character ever mentions there being a being inside. Episode 8, The Ambush. They save the Thals, the other species on the planet, from a Dalek ambush. The Daleks confiscated a part to the TARDIS from Ian while they were prisoners. Episode 9, The Expedition. Ian, Barbara, and some Thals start a journey through a swamp to get to an undefended part of the Dalek city. Episode 10, The Ordeal. Doctor and Susan captured trying to cut power to the city. Episode 11, The Rescue. Thals, Ian, and Barbara attack Daleks, rescue Doctor and Susan. Really bad action scene. Comparatively to what we know the Daleks can do in the reboot, people are just jumping on a Dalek and disabling it. Also, these Daleks somehow are only charged by static electricity of their metal floor, so they just threw some dirt on the ground to make them have no power. Which is interesting. The Thals win the fight, and the group leaves in the TARDIS, letting Thals rebuild life on Skaros. Episode 12, The Edge of Destruction. Susan is going through weird episodes after her hitting her head during a crash. Suspicions of a life form getting on board the TARDIS, possibly using one of them as a host. The Doctor is grabbed. Episode 13, The Brink of Disaster. Ian is the one that grabbed the Doctor, then faints. They are at the start of a solar system, and the TARDIS is freaking out. Ian solves more problems than the Doctor, who is pretty useless. Onto a cold planet. Episodes 14 through 20 are not on BritBox, and frankly, the show's too bad for me to even try and find where these shows are held, if they are anywhere. I know there are episodes of Doctor Who that are lost, and maybe these are some of them. If the show was a little better, I might put some time into thinking and looking for these episodes, but it's not worth it. Episode 14 is The Roof of the World. Episode 15 is The Singing Sands. Episode 16, 500 Eyes. Episode 17, The Wall of Lies. There's a little rhyme there. Episode 18, Rider from Shang-Tu. Episode 19, Mighty Kublai Khan. Episode 20, Assassin at Peking. Episode 21, back on BritBox, The Sea of Death. They arrive on a planet with lots of natural glass beaches and an acid sea. They start to help a monk in a religious battle. The monk killed after they start their journey. Barbara is separated and bleeding. Episode 22, The Velvet Web. Barbara is the only one that can see clearly. The others have been tricked with an illusion. Barbara breaks the city out of hypnosis. The first key is recovered. They have to recover 4 keys. Altos and Sabitha are joining them. The group searches for key number 2, and the Doctor goes to key number 4. Episode 23, The Screaming Jungle. The second key is found by the big group, but it's a fake. Altos, Sabitha, and Susan are headed for the third key. Barbara and Ian remain to look for the actual second, which they find. Episode 24, The Snows of Terror. The first and second key are lost to a fur trader, who is then defeated, and the keys are recovered. The group secures the third key. Ian is knocked out and framed. Mystery Hand has the fourth key. Episode 25, Sentence of Death. Ian is charged with murder. The Doctor reunites with the group after leaving in episode 22. So we went episode 23 and 24 without the Doctor at all, by the way. 2 full episodes, no Doctor. And Susan is captured. Episode 26, The Keys of Marinus, which is the name of the planet they are on. Real murderer is found. Ian is freed. The Vords who has been fighting the monk, capture Altos and Sabitha. They were carrying 3 keys. Ian loses the final key to a Vord, but it was the fake key. The group escapes. Altos and Sabitha go back to their lives, and the TARDIS leaves. Episode 27, The Temple of Evil. The Aztec Empire. Susan is captured. The Aztecs think... Barbara is captured. The Aztecs think she is a reincarnation of a former priest. Episode 28, The Warriors of Death. Barbara is challenged to use her powers to save Ian, who lost a duel. One of the high priests doubts her legitimacy. Episode 29, The Bride of Sacrifice. The Doctor accidentally engaged to an Aztec woman. Barbara confirmed false to the high priest with doubts. Susan will be married off to the next sacrifice. Episode 30, The Day of Darkness. The group escapes marriages and deaths back to the TARDIS. Episode 31, Strangers in Space. They arrive on a spaceship with a dead crew. They only seemed dead. They were not, just in a deep sleep forced upon them. Aliens have arrived again. Episode 32. The aliens have been forcing them into the deep sleep. That's what I meant to say. Episode 32, The Unwilling Warriors. Susan is taken. Episode 33, Hidden Danger. Ian contracts a disease killing the Sensorites. So now it gives the Doctor more motivation to heal the Sensorites problem, who are the aliens that had been attacking the ship, because now Ian is also infected. Episode 34, A Race Against Death. The Doctor discovers a cure. Episode 35, Kidnap. I didn't write any notes for this episode other than I was bored. So that's good. Episode 36, A Desperate Venture. The group solves the problem plaguing the Sensorite people. It's a rough first season. There is no sonic screwdriver. Gallifrey is never mentioned. And nor is the word Time Lord. Just that he's not human and not from Earth. They do describe the sunset picturesque view that they have on Gallifrey, but they never say the word. The 2 hearts part is not mentioned, even though there is one point where the Doctor is passed out, and they check his pulse. They didn't notice the 2 hearts. There was also a question of where a human's heart is. Is it in the left, the center, or the right, where the Sensorite's heart is, or their heart's in the center? And there was, again, no mention of 2 hearts on the Doctor. And Ian is better than the Doctor, and I almost kind of wish he was the Doctor character for this. But that wraps up season 1 of Doctor Who. I know William Hartnell is at least in season 2, but for all of our sakes, I can hope that that's where his time ends. Once I get into more Doctors, I will be putting them all in a ranking, like I have a lot of the Marvel and Star Wars things. But for now, we only have one, so William Hartnell is alone on that list. And normally I would say alone at the top, but for this circumstance, I'm going to say he's alone at the bottom, because it's not a list that I can imagine people are going to go below him very fast. That is all I have for today's episode. If you've seen any of the 1963 William Hartnell Doctor Who, and you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments down below. If you do agree with me, I'd love to hear that too. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.